How you doing, guys? This is Ed Sensei at iSurvive.life and JP from Train and Roll.
How you guys doing today?
So today we're talking a little bit about weapons and what type of weapons are we can use and why people are carrying so much guns, and so they're so interested in actually learning how to fire in a firearm and actually taking a self-defense class. So what are your experiences behind that?
So one of the things in reality, a firearm is pretty much the ultimate equalizer. If you have a weapon like a firearm and you're an older person versus some young healthy stud out there who has a machete, who has whatever, and you have a firearm, you can pretty much defend yourself.
So basically a projectile tool.
Yes, you have an ability to defend yourself with a firearm. With no training, you have no self-defense training, you have no nothing, you're not in shape, you haven't done nothing. The equalizer is the firearm. But there's a lot of things with this firearm that could be potential problems for you and liability for you and endangerment to other people that you haven't really thought about, because nobody talks about that when they say, oh, just get a gun, just get a Glock and you'll be okay. That's all you gotta do. Get a concealed weapons license, which we could do here. But I'm just saying.
So we can actually do concealed weapon permits for you also.
The difference is you have to know what you're doing. Not only with the takeout of the weapon, the manner that you use it, the manner that you carry, you have to practice just drawing the weapon in time. That's number one. So situational awareness of what's going on around you to know whether or not you need to draw the weapon or not.
What about the legality part of it?
There's a whole other thing. You can't just get the weapon and a guy comes at you to rob you, and then you just, because you think you're in fear because you say, oh, well, I was scared. Well, what made you scared? What was it about him? What did he say to you? How did he tell you he wanted money? Did he just ask you for money? Was he a homeless guy asking you for money? Or was he trying to rob you? There's a big difference.
So were you in fear of your life?
You have to be able to articulate these facts. You can't just say, oh, yeah, I was scared, so I shot him. Okay? Now, you shoot somebody, you have to know what's beyond that person.
So the ones that carry these big calibers, these 45s and all that, and armor piercing, basically bullets and hollow points and all that, they make this big explosion through your back, and they shoot through you, and they hit the person in the back. That is an innocent bystander. What would happen with something like that?
I mean, you're talking serious liability for you, because you think, oh, well, he's a guy, he's trying to rob me, and I go, bah, 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 and I run and I close my eyes and I just pull the trigger and I shoot willy-nilly all over the place. And the abuela that's walking down the street 2 blocks away gets hit with a straight round and drops, because you were scared and you were running and pulling the trigger at the same time. Because where did you get that training? Who's going to train you at the range with a target that comes open and comes out and comes in? You're not going to have that kind of training.
So you basically need stress training is really what you need to be able to understand the actual weapon.
That is a huge difference. If you have training, just regular point shoot training on something, but you've never had any kind of stress training, any kind of stress draw, it's shooting from the ground, shooting from where you fall down, inside of a car, the guy's trying to carjack you, and you try to draw from inside a car that you've never ever done in a range. I don't care what kind of BS you're going to come up with. You've never done that in a private range, sitting in a car, drawing from inside your car, shooting out onto a target. Never done that. Nobody's done that, right? But those stress things are things that are realistically going to happen in your environment. Here in Miami, carjacking is quite possible because that can happen to you.
It's true.
And if you have a big 45, wow, I just shoot them, and you've never trained to actually shoot somebody from inside your car.
So there is a lot of liability. The conclusion is there's a lot of liability behind having a weapon, and hurting somebody with a weapon. It could be a knife or a gun, even people that carry knives, inside their purse and all that, or on them. If you basically scar somebody, facial scar, basically that's a very big problem. You're going to be doing some time. So what I do advise as a defense instructor and a combative instructor is basically learn some typical self-defense. How to get away, how to think in a stress situation. You know, here at I Survive and Train and Roll, we teach you guys how to think about certain situations and how to deal with those situations. And at that time, we also should teach you some defense movements, how to get away from a situation that involves stress and an emergency.
With anything with knife fighting, with guns, creating space is the key. You need to think and you need to get away from the problem. Creating space to draw, creating space to avoid the knife, those are critical elements that nobody teaches you out there. They just teach you, how to avoid a punch or whatever, but they're not going to teach you how to create space in order to draw. This is where this style of kapap and Maga is a great blend of weapons and hand-to-hand, which is what you need, because you're not going to panic in a situation where you have your weapon in your little fanny pack or in your purse or in whatever, and now the guy's coming at you, and if you have no self-defense training, you're going to immediately panic. Oh my gosh, I can't get to my gun. The guy's going to be punching you in the face, and you're going to be running down here to try and grab your gun, instead of trying to block yourself and create the space you need in order to draw that gun safely.
Well, your body does three different things. Either you pause, okay, you run, or you fight. One of the three things your body is going to do. So you have to train it either to run, to pause, or to fight. Do you agree?
100%. It's a psychological effect. Deer in the headlights, the freeze, animals kingdom does it all the time. If I don't move, maybe he doesn't see me. This happens to your brain. A lot of people, the fear happens to them also. They see something happen and they're gone, and the other ones are like, what are you doing in my house? And they come at you. Okay? You have to be that, what are you doing in my house kind of thing, to come at the person. That takes training.
Yeah, and it doesn't matter really size, or if you're a woman or you're a man. Our training is made for everyone. It's made for young people, older, small frame, big frame. So we can actually help you out and deal with different types of situations, and even give you some training in firearms, and also bladed knives. So we do have it here at I Survive, Train and Roll, Doral, Miami.